Today is Take Care of Your Feet Day. So we start with our humble tennis ball. We've got a foam roller of any variety, a yoga block, and a strap. So we'll start with the tennis ball. Standing on one foot, just start rolling. Nice and easy. It's really gentle. So the point is not to dig in at first. We're really just mastering how to roll the tennis ball under our foot. Takes a little agility. If your feet have been in shoes for a long time and they're sort of plank-like, it can be a little hard. You're going to lose the tennis ball a few times. Just go get it and start again. So nice and easy rolling, front to back, toes to heel, the whole width of the foot. So do the inner arch, then go to the outer arch. That's usually when I lose it. And just another little bit here. And while you're rolling that foot, you're also standing on this leg and actually working on the balance and strength of that standing leg a little bit, not really having to think too much about it. Okay, so this nice warm up on that side. Stand, just feel, let your brain feel. Okay, second side. It's nice and easy. It is easier to roll the tennis ball on a yoga mat. If you're on a hardwood floor, it will escape more often. Also, rugs work great. Standing on a rug will work to help tame your tennis ball. So nice and easy, toes to heel. Try to work some of that agility, trying to work the outside edge of the foot a little bit. And again, we're working on the standing leg balance there. You don't actually have to look down at your foot. I mean, everyone does that when we start this, but you can also work on standing up nice and tall and working on your balance on that standing leg. So, and then we'll go just again, just pause for a moment. Okay. Second side. I'm sorry, first side again. So now you are going to start back at the heel and just do nice dig in a little bit down the length of that leg. And then I'm down the length of that foot. And then dig in a little bit and go from the heel right down the center to the toes. One more time. Dig in. Then land right in front of the heel, toes on the mat. Just stand foot by foot, side by side, toes lined up. The tennis ball is right in front of my heel, the highest part of the arch. And I'm just going to push down into there and lift up through that leg, spread my toes. Okay, and then shift it to right behind the front of the foot. So you have the sort of the end of the arch there, second arch. Heel down, try to wrap your toes around that tennis ball. Heels on the mat. It might be even a little bit of a calf stretch if your calves are very tight. And I'm just trying to wrap the tennis ball with my feet. And then once again, just a nice little light roll there. Then I'm going to just put my foot out here, out in front of me, and try to, as if I was going to pick up the tennis ball. So I'm trying to use my toes to pick up the tennis ball. I can't. Some people can. Um, but just pretend, okay? So just like I'm just trying to, just a few more times, just working those toes, trying to pick up the tennis ball. Okay, that's all. And then second side, last little bit with the tennis ball. So we're digging in, going from the heel, making stripes along the length of the foot to the toes, just about 3 times. You can do one down the middle, you can do one down each side, or just try to do whatever you can get there. And we'll put the tennis ball right in front of the heel. So we're lining our feet back up, so toe to toe. Put the tennis ball right in front of the heel on the highest part of the arch and just stand, spread your toes, standing up nice and tall. Of course, your hips are going to be uneven, but lift up through that standing leg, the one that's on the tennis ball. Just putting a nice pressure point onto that arch and then shift the ball to the front of the arch, right in front of the toes. Your heel can come down now. Again, line up your feet. You know, wrap your toes around the tennis ball there. Just working that part of the foot actually tends to collapse a little bit more earlier on in our life and causes things like hammer toes and some Morton's neuroma issues like that. So getting that to lift up can be really helpful, the front arch there. Okay. And then take your tennis ball out in front of you. And then this is part of strengthening that front arch, is the picking up, as if you were trying to pick up the tennis ball. So that action through the toes of sort of massaging the tennis ball can be useful for rebuilding the strength of that front arch. I can feel that's actually a little bit, those muscles on my left foot need a little bit of work. Ran a lot on pavement this weekend and they're pretty fatigued. Okay, there we go. So that's all with the tennis ball. Now, taking the foam roller, we'll put that out in front of us. Step your right foot up onto the roller. Now, not all size foam rollers fit all people's feet, so it's sort of a matter of finding the right thing. I have a pretty long foot, so my heel can reach the ground and the ball of my big toe is on the roller. I'm going to bend my back knee and bend my front knee too and touch down. And that with the front knee bent, that's a pretty good calf stretch. Okay, I'm going to take that right hip, try to steer it back. So oftentimes when we're in stretching positions, we will try to avoid the stretch by any number of unconscious movements. So in this case, we're going to consciously square off the hip, keep that front knee bent a little bit. Now push the ball of the big toe into the foam roller. So that's a way to get out of it, sort of fall to the outside. Actually, as if I'm trying to push down on the gas pedal. Keep your back knee, your left knee kind of wide. Wants to maybe fall in, keep it wide. So your knees are just hip distance apart. Trying to steer that front foot flat again. Keep the knee wide while you do that. So don't let the knee cave in just because the big toe is pressing down. Take another breath there, sticking my butt back behind me. If you're very flexible, you could bow more. I'm just coming up on my fingertips, holding on to that. I could also, by the way, if I was less flexible, I could have my foam block or even two foam blocks as more arm extenders to help me out with my balance. Okay, then I'm going to come up and just switch sides. So my feet are just about 1 foot distance apart, front to back. Big toe up on the roller, heel on the ground. Bend both knees to get down there. Okay, so I'm going to sort of crouch and then steer my left hip back. So I'm trying to square my hips off and then I'm keeping my knees wide. I could have my feet parallel, my back foot pointing forward or turned out. It doesn't matter too much. I could have a block here to add if I was very tight to give me a little bit of height or stability, right? Sometimes being down here makes it feel too wobbly. I'm trying to spread my toes and get that right big toe onto the foam roller, push it to square it off. And as I go to square it off, I got to widen my left knee. So there's sort of two actions happening there where the foot is almost internally rotating to square off, but my knee has to widen. And the same with the back knee. I'm going to try to keep that as wide as my hip. Don't let it cave in at all. Give that another breath and come up. Okay. So that's the bent knee calf stretch. What about the straight leg calf stretch? There's two sets of muscles there. They both need to get stretched. So same thing, take my heel onto the foam roller and look, I'm standing back here and I'm not bowing forward. I've got my heel down, my toes up. My toes are not wrapped around the foam roller. They're just trying to spread the toes, try to drag my heel back to the mat. So I might even start up here, my heel off the mat, and then I'm just going to roll it back down, really reaching that heel toward the mat, really reaching the base of my shin back. Now, as I do that, I have to take the top of my shin forward. A lot of calf dysfunction actually comes from hyperextending, and that'll cause some imbalances in your calf muscles. So as I push my shin bone down, this part, I have to resist with the upper shin. And then as I resist with that upper shin, I'm going to try to take my top hip back, the top of the thigh bone back. So that's where I'm going for that stretch and release. It's a little more work than stretch, I would say. For me anyway, it might be quite stretchy for you. Okay, take your left foot, and so the ball of the foot is up on the roll, and then I'm going to roll with straight knee, heel down to the ground. You could definitely do this with the molding on the side of your wall, for example, the baseboard. You could do this with the yoga block too. I just find this particular foam roller height works well for my foot. So I think it's a 6-inch foam roller and So there's different sizes of foam rollers too. Okay, now this knee, I'm not going to hyperextend it, but I am going to really push the shin bone down toward the floor, like I'm trying to slide it back on the heel, and then I'm going to resist with the top of the shin. My knee is not actually bent, and then I'm going to take the top of the hip back. And I was working that calf muscle like that. And enough. Okay, so that's the first part of the ankle warm up. Now, take the foam roller, come on down, put it underneath the knees, right at the base of the kneecap. Okay, so this this works really well if it's not really painful. So we don't want to be causing damage to those front muscles, those the front of the shin muscles, the tibialis muscles, and so on. We want to be nice to. Okay, so tearing them up, not so great. If they're nice and strong, it's going to work well. Meaning you're a runner, you're a walker, you put a lot of force on the lower leg. This works well for athletes. If you're not very athletic, you want to be quite gentle actually to those muscles. Okay, so I'm just rolling back and forth. And in this case, you can pick one direction, might feel preferable. I know for me, usually from the knee down feels better. So I'll put more pressure going from knee down to ankles, and then I'll kind of lift up a little bit to come back, and then knee down to the ankles. Now, right now, I'm not worrying about where I am on the shin front to back. I'm just going straight down the front of the shin. I should say where I'm on the shin side to side. That's what I meant. Okay, so I'm just going back and forth. This pressure works just fine for me in terms of how sensitive my shins are. You might have to lift off a little more. Um, there are different ways to handle this. You can have your toes down, right? So just working little sections at a time, and that way you're taking some weight off and just kind of feeling it out. A lot of this is just getting to know where is the tension in the body. So calf muscles work best when the front of the lower leg, the shin muscles, are not too tight. Okay, now let's turn the heels out and get more to the outside edge of those calves, right? So you can kind of work the outside edge of the shin bone, and then you could work the inside edge by turning the heels in. So you'll just see there's different muscles on either side of the shin bone there and what you want to get to. Now, let's end right here with the foam roller right at the crease of the ankle. I'm on my knees, bending my knees. My feet are hanging off the foam roller there. And I'm just sitting back. I'm just setting that shin bone back. Again, that's the direction the shin bone would like to go at the base of the shin there. I'd like to sit back on the heel bone. It often gets slid forward, especially when we wear heels quite a lot, or we fall and just do a little tweak, a little thing to our ankle. So I'll even add the weight of my hands on there, just push into the shin bones, get them to sit back on the heel bone. Okay, good. So now, last little bit for calf maintenance with the foam roller as we sit like so. And I like two options here. Let's just do this little warm up, just a little bit back and forth. So it's nice and easy. You can just roll the calves. And usually as you do this, the foam roller will naturally start rolling itself up toward your knees. So you don't have to move your body too much. But if you're on a different surface, the foam roller might not move, and then you could lift your body up. And we're slowly working up from the ankles up to the back of the knees there. And again, it should not feel, nothing should feel terrible. Intense, yes, but like, oh, that's not something I should be pushing on. Bad. So if I have varicose veins, I have to be very, very, very careful here and really just work the foam roller up the body and very gently. Like the problem with varicose veins is that the vein is already a little weakened and stretched out. So we really don't want to contribute to that pressure there and weaken that further. Okay, so I don't have varicose veins, so I can put a good amount of pressure on there and just gently work. Also, my calf muscles are ridiculously tight and strong, so they can handle a good amount of force, but you have to be respectful of that with whatever your situation is. Okay, now let's say that I'm going to do a little more calf work. I can put one foot on top of the other and just sort of go side to side like this. So I'm just rolling left to right at the base of that calf. There's a big, tough sheet of connective tissue, platysma, that goes from the base of the heel up the calf. And I'm just going to sit right on that and roll side to side. It's also to the top of the Achilles tendon. It turns into that sheet of tissue. So we can get that to just start to free up, and then work up another inch or two. And if it's too tender, I take that foot off, right, and just do this. I'm just showing you how you could use the weight of your other leg to add to your own body work. This is a great, really lazy form of foam rolling. So it's an easy one to do at the end of the day when you're watching TV, but in this case, you're watching a home exercise video. But once you learn this routine, you don't need to tune out too much. Okay, so here we go, side to side. I will advocate for being present while you do body work, because the sensing and feeling is a really important part of it. The getting into your body is a really important part of it. So I'm just working my way up that calf and just still rolling, just nice and easy rolling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I move up just about like that. I mean, it's sort of intuitive. One, I'm not necessarily counting, but a lot of people ask me to give them numbers and reps. So here we go. All right, and then when I've got to the top of that one, I'll do the second one, right? So start back at that ankle, right on the Achilles tendon. I could have my top foot on there to add a little pressure if I felt like I wasn't getting enough sensation. I need to work into those tissues, but we're not trying to, the thing with the foam rollers, we're not trying to be punitive. We're not penalizing ourselves. We're not trying to undo past regressions or something. We're really just trying to free up the tissue in a gentle, kind wake up kind of way, getting a little, extra fluid in there. As I put pressure on one area and bring my attention to one area, it's going to attract body energy, in the literal form and the metaphorical form, to that area, and it'll help heal that tissue. And then working up. And again, I can not have both legs there. I can just do that one leg at a time. About 5 rocks or so, and then move up another inch. Just working all the parts of that calf, just getting those muscles to glide freely on each other. Slowly working up the calf. Getting some blood flow to that calf is a really good warm-up. Particularly, this is a good warm-up before going out to run fast. So you don't necessarily want to stretch your muscles, right? Like stretching actually will temporarily weaken them, and you'll lose a little of your explosive power and speed. But getting blood flow into them without tiring yourself out is great for warm-up. So this kind of thing where we're just getting blood flow and movement into the calf muscles, increasing their function, it's a really good thing to do before you go out and run steep trails or try to run fast, or if you're walking on pavement, if you're walking uphill, you might want to try this. And it's good for afterward too, because like I said, it gets the healing going. Okay, so I've worked my way up to my knee, and now I'm just going to put both calves back on right at the shin, and just again working in this direction. Just get a little integration back in there, top to bottom. I can slowly work my way up. The calf is working up toward the knee, and there we are, right there. Okay, now coming on to your back, you have your strap, and we're gonna hook. So this I would save for after my exercise, running, etc., because it's gonna stretch my calves a bit. I can also do very gentle stretching before I head out to help me warm up, like literally like warm my body up and warm my brain and mind up for exercise. Stretching is not so bad for that before exercise, but we're not trying to dig in. I'm not trying to like create new length in the back of my leg before I head out. Okay, so turn my toes open to the right. For me, this is more of a functionality test I want to make sure that that leg is able to be on the floor while this leg is vertical. That's important for just general physical functioning, balanced action with the leg muscles. And I cross my leg over to the right. And while I'm there, I'm going to do a little point and flex. I'm stretching the ankle. And I'm working my hamstrings and my calf muscles, just pointing into the strap. My foot is over next to my left shoulder, and then back to center. And then we'll just switch sides. Hook right behind your toes. The most common correction I make in class is people want to hook the arch of the foot there. Put it right on the ball of the big toe, right behind the toes, because that's where you have a lot of leverage. That's the part of the foot we're trying to stretch specifically. So as I do that, I can reach my heel up and just work that tissue. Turn your toe a little off to the left, cross it over to the right. And again, we're working on this right angle between the two legs. And this little point and flex. This is good for bikers too. Your feet are just, your feet and ankles just have a very specific range of motion when you're biking. And you want to kind of work the full range of motion with your feet. And back to center. And then we'll put that foot down. Okay. Now, the last exercise is the one I really like to use for my foot and ankle mobility, and that's the rolling front to back one. So the reason people can't get up into a squat from rolling is their ankles are really tight. So adding a little force can really help, right? So I'm just adding a little force from the roll to work on that ankle flexibility and see if I can get my knees over my toes. Right? So I'm just going back and forth, seeing if I can get my butt off the ground. And then when I can finally get my weight over my toes, right, I can come to stand. So that's something to work on to test your ankle flexibility, your knee flexibility. Just have fun with that at the end of class. Okay, and that's it. That is foot maintenance 101 for runners, walkers, bikers, all of you out there who move your body.